If you were hoping to grab a bite to eat with Warren Buffett, it's a little too late. The annual bidding for Lunch with the Billionaire Investor is over. Now, the winner, who wants to remain anonymous, paid $1.68 million. The money, as always, will go to charity. eBay ran the bid and says the winner was one of 10 competitors. This year's total trailed last year's, which set a record. Last year's winner, Hong Kong hedge fund manager Zhao Dangyang, paid more than $2 million for the chance to join Buffett this week at the New York steakhouse Smith & Wollensky. He said it's his way of repaying Buffett for the wisdom he gained from Buffett's writings. He says his hedge fund would never have performed as well without Buffett's lessons.
The last 6 years, we made 600% return.
Wow.
Yeah, we make a lot.
Total?
I think like Graham is Buffett's teacher. I think Buffett is my teacher.
Fortunately for you, our own Betty Lou got to sit down for free, mind you, and pump Buffett for information. That means you get to hear what he said when Betty asked about the economic outlook for the United States.
What I do know is America will go on to set new records, and people, your children will live better than you, and your grandchildren will live better than your children. This country works. I mean, it has faced all kinds of problems in the past. We had the Great Depression, we had world wars and all of that, and we just keep marching forward over time. But we do have these, it gets stalled occasionally, and we're in one of those very serious stalls now, but we'll come out of it. I don't know when we'll come out of it.
Well, there's been a lot of talk about the green shoots in the economy and in the banking industry, and I know that there's also been a lot of talk about perhaps recovery there, but you were just saying that leverage is one of the most important issues in the banking industry. What is too much leverage now that we have gone through all of this? What is too much leverage to you?
Well, the leverage we had and the interconnectedness of that leverage meant that we had a paralysis in the financial system last September. I mean, there's only really one way that a smart person can get in trouble, and that's leverage. I mean, you can't go broke. And one of my friends used to say, if you're smart, you don't need it, and if you're dumb, you got no business using it. You can't go broke if you don't owe money.
Right.
And we had these incentives built into many institutions to just pile on leverage like you can't imagine. Both
30 to 1, for instance.
Well, that was the observable leverage, but then there was all kinds of things. There were all kinds of things off the balance sheets as well. So we went crazy on leverage in this country, and we've got to rein it in. And it isn't it's a slow process deleveraging an over-leveraged economy, including the consumer's been over-leveraged.
Well, how long do you think that process would take?
It can take a while. I have no idea when it hasn't turned yet.
Perhaps.
It hasn't turned yet. There's no telling how long it'll take. It will happen, though. We'll cure it.
Right. But some have said that we're well into the deleveraging process, though. But you kind of sound like you think we're still in the beginning of that process.
Well, there's a lot to do.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's turn to part of the banking industry is obviously what the Fed has done, and you've been very supportive of what Ben Bernanke has
Absolutely.
done. But in Washington right now, there's a lot of debate as to whether or not Bernanke will be or should be renominated. What is your view on that?
I'll send in a write-in vote for him. I think he's absolutely the right man. And when you've got somebody that good, I think you keep him in the lineup.
So you would support a renomination of him?
Sure, I'm qualified.
We were sitting down with President Barack Obama earlier this month, and he had talked quite a bit about the jobless market and about unemployment, of course. He mentioned that very likely America will see an unemployment rate over 10%. Is that even conservative in your point of view, or what do you think?
Well, I think he's right, and who knows how much higher it goes. We're going to have more unemployment, and we have not. The recovery really hasn't gotten going. I mean, it will. I want to emphasize that. But unemployment lags the recovery anyway. So even if the recovery started today, unemployment would go up for a while. So it's very, very likely to go above 10%, and there's no telling how much above that it'll go.
Well, you've been also supportive of President Obama and his policies. If there was one thing, though, that you would want to change in any of the policies that you've heard about, whether or not it has to do with finances or not, or the financial industry or not, what would it be?
Well, I'm not big on second-guessing people that are they're very good, very smart, doing their best. They have the interest of the American public at heart. So I am supportive of things, and I know that there are going to be some mistakes made, but if I were in there, there'd be plenty of mistakes made. I mean, it is not an easy job that they have, and you've got the right people that are working on it.
Well, do you agree that it would be prudent for us not to issue a second stimulus package?
Well, I think you may very well have to do it. So I don't know the answer to that now, but I would say this: so far, it looks like we're going to need more medicine, not less.
By the way, an interesting fact about Buffett. Over the past few months, you would have been better off investing in the same things he has been investing in rather than in his company Berkshire Hathaway. Bloomberg News compared the returns on Berkshire shares with a synthetic portfolio we created using the company's stock holdings. And here's what we found. Between early March and this week, Buffett's holdings returned 68%. Berkshire stock returned only 19%. According to company filings, top Berkshire's holdings are Coca-Cola, Wells Fargo, and Goldman Sachs. All right, coming up, he is known as Dr. Doom for his pessimistic economic forecasts. Now